Well, you knew it would happen. You knew that loops and lists would go together nicely. In this video, we're going to take a look at for loops, and we're going to see some examples of how they can be used in conjunction with lists. To get us started, we are going to use a for loop in two different ways to populate a list. Yeah, and we should pause for a moment and reflect on that fact, shouldn't we? We haven't covered this with you yet. I don't know if you thought of this on your own that you could do this, but yeah, pretty neat. You can start a list as empty. So all we do is just set the myList variable name equal to the square brackets with nothing inside. Yeah, that creates an empty list for us in Python. And then look what we're going to do. We're going to do a nice for loop with the range set to 10. Now remember how this is going to work. That's going to be a range of 0 through 9, isn't it? Now notice what we do. We use that append method that we learned about in the previous video, and we're going to go ahead and append the value of I plus 1. So what would be the first entry in our list? It would be 1, the number 1. Yeah, because initially I will be set to 0 in the loop. So we'll start numbering at 1, and I do believe it will go to 9 when we print the myList variable. All right, let's go ahead and run this, and let's confirm it works just like we thought that it would. And it does. Look at that. So we have just used a for loop to populate a list. How cool is that? Works perfectly. Oh, by the way, it goes up to 10, right? Because we know the range stopped at 9, but we're adding 1 to that. Yeah, so we start at 1, we end at 10 using the approach that we just did. Now, I've got another example for you. This is fun. That was our look at the append approach. What if we used an insert? Yeah, what if we used an insert approach? Let's take a look at that. Here you can see we are once again creating an empty list named my_list. And then we do our for I in range 10 again, but this time notice we are doing the insert method. And we're saying start at the index of 0, and then what are we going to put in that location? Well, it's our I plus 1 once again. So the first value is going to be 1. Then the next value is going to be 2. So think about it, using the insert method like this with the index of 0, we should see that the list is in the reverse order when we print it. Yeah, think about it. The insert method here will actually reverse the order. By the way, once again, we'll start at 1 and end at 10. Due to the logic of how the for I in range works and the way we are incrementing that value. All right, we're going to go ahead and run it, see if it works as we suspect, and sure enough, it does. We have our list, and the list is populated with the integers 1 through 10, this time in reverse order. Fun little thing to exercise to get us thinking and to, recall how our for loops work as well. This is all such great review. Yeah, great review of append and insert along with our for loop logic. Okay, now what if we wanted to do something with a pre-existing list? Can for loops help us out there? Sure. What if we want to, for instance, add all the values in a list? Yeah, being able to enact some operation on everything in a list is clearly going to be very valuable for us. So let's go ahead and grab another example here that I've got for you where we will take action on all of the entries in a list. Notice we begin by providing the list, and I just put together some random values here, 10, 20, 1, 4, 3, and then we declare a variable called total and set it equal to 0. Then what we do is we do something clever, and I'm going to tell you right now that there is an easier way to use a for loop to add up everything in a list. So there is an easier method that I'll show you next, but I just wanted you to see this cool concept where we say for I in range, and then notice what we set the range to. It's the length of our list. Yeah, notice how we can use the length of our list in various locations, and that way we don't need to hard code it, right? It can be dynamically obtained, that length, when our list is populated, let's say, dynamically. So pretty neat that we can use that value like that. And then notice what we do. We take our 0 total and we're adding to it the my list entry, and we're using the I as the index. Yeah, index 0 is 10. So 10 is added to 0, and then 20 is added to 10, and then 1 is added to 30, and then 4 is added to 31. You get the idea. So it's going to add up everything in here for us, and using this for loop approach. So let's see if this works. By the way, what is the total that we should see? It should be 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 1 is 31, plus 4 is 35, 38. It should be 38. Let's run it and see if it works. It works perfectly. Great. Now, I told you that we wanted you to see this particular example. I wanted you to see this, like how we can cleverly use the length of the list here, and how we can cleverly substitute for the index in our list. But if we need to add up everything in our list, there is a much easier and more direct method than this. I'm glad you saw these kind of neat things about this approach, but now let's just look at how this would be very easily accomplished. Yeah, notice we give it a list. Once again, we set the total to 0, but all we need to do is say for I in my list, go ahead and add to the total the element from our list. Cycle through those. Isn't that neat? So it goes in and it says, okay, the first thing in the list is this object of 10, and then it goes and increments through our list. So this is a direct and real easy way where we can add everything up that's in our list. Yeah, that's if it works. Let's go ahead and run it and look at that. It works great. So for loops and our lists, yes, they go together like the great philosopher Forrest Gump once said, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Thanks so much for watching. We've got more great content for you on the way regarding these amazingly simple to use and very powerful structures called lists inside of Python.